Alright, so today I'll be talking about something that has kind of been plaguing me these past few weeks, and that's the topic of focus. But what really made me want to make this video is this statistic that I found from a study which, said that constant distractions are pretty much the equivalent of losing 10 points of IQ. And because we're almost distracted now with our phones and with social media these days, it's as if we were always living with 10 IQ points lower than we should be. So, if you're always wondering why you make bad decisions, this could totally be the reason. You're literally not as smart as you should be when you're distracted like this. And to put this in perspective, losing 10 points of IQ is pretty much like losing an entire night's sleep. So this is serious stuff. It's not small. Distractions are really damaging our ability to think and perform, especially at work. So I was super surprised when I found out about this. With all of the distractions that we have with YouTube, social media, and all this instant gratification, it's going to be very hard to focus on our day-to-day lives. Like, for example, if you go back a few centuries ago, they didn't even have a mail system. To communicate from one place to another, you had to either send a guy to run, get a horse, or use a ship to send a piece of paper to someone else, just so that you could communicate something. Like if you look at the ocean across Europe and the US, just to communicate they had to go all the way with a boat, and that could take months. And sometimes the boat didn't even get there because it sank or was attacked. And so it's very different if you look at the world of today, where we can communicate instantly. There's no waiting, and it's very, very reliable. And on top of that, when you expect things to come quick, you can switch from one thing to another. And over the span of just one single hour, you could check your emails, watch television. You could look at your social media account, play a video game, and then watch another YouTube video, all in a single hour, and you wonder why you can't focus anymore. With all these different distractions, the world today has pretty much messed up your brain. It has screwed up with everything inside so that you can't focus on anything. It's going to be very hard to get back to that natural state of focus and discipline. And, if you look back to the days where people went out into the forest and built their own house all by themselves, imagine the amount of focus and patience that was needed to make one of those things, just a cabin out in the woods. They had to go and find a good clearing, cut down trees, dig a foundation, and chop wood, place down all the planks, build up the house. And that could take months and months. Nowadays, it's difficult for me even to focus on a piece of work for 20 minutes. You're constantly getting distracted, and it's very difficult. And there's tons of different methods and ways that people have come up to try to help this focus problem, from removing your phone out of the room, or deleting video games that you have on your computer. I've heard of people who've really doubled down on their lives and got rid of their gaming PCs because every time they went on it, they would think of playing video games. So if they tried to do work, they really couldn't. So once they got rid of their computer, they got themselves a normal one that was dedicated just to work. And they found that to be really helpful with being more productive. And I totally agree with what they're doing. I think one of the biggest things you could do to become more productive and to get more focus in general is to get rid of the things that distract you in the first place. If you don't have any cookies in the house, you'll never be able to eat any in the first place. So if you don't have any video games on your computer, it's going to be so much easier just to sit down and do some work. And all that fits in with the idea of moving your phone to another room. If you don't have the phone right next to you to distract you, there's almost no way you will get distracted. But then again, there are still a lot of people who have the same problem even when they get rid of their video games, even when they delete their social media, and even when they move their phones out of their room. Including me, many still think about their video games, their social media, and their YouTube while working. And if this is the case, you probably have a much deeper problem that can be fixed with just a simple change of environment. By changing your environment, you probably found there's a definite difference. You were able to focus for a little longer, but you still had the thought pop up in your head, just play a video game, just watch a YouTube video, just check your social media, it'll only take 5 minutes, then after you can go straight back to working, right? Well, you probably already know from personal experience, once you get on your phone, you are going to be on your phone for quite a while. You tell yourself, oh, it's going to take a minute just to check my social media, but what usually ends up happening is that you look at something interesting and you go and look at something else and another thing, and pretty soon you've gone down a long rabbit hole and you've just wasted another hour of time that you dedicated to doing some work. You know, the social media companies, their goal is to keep you on their platforms for as long as possible. So if you ever go on there, you're going to be there for a while, and that's the trap. And the biggest way to fix this is to not fall into the trap at all. The second you go on the platform, you'll get sucked into it, and you might spend an hour just mindlessly scrolling around. And this begs the question of, should you delete your social media account? For this, I can't speak for everyone. If you think you should delete it, you feel like you could give it up, then do so. Get rid of it. The less stuff you have in your life, the better. Declutter. And another example of this problem that we get with focus is the topic of reading. I mean, you've all seen before the things where it's like people don't read books anymore, like what happened to people wanting knowledge, etc. But I think the main reason people are reading less and less is because we've expanded our expectations of entertainment. If we go back just a few centuries again, people would gladly read books for hours and hours on end just for fun. Imagine the amount of focus that they had. They really enjoyed the books. Now in today's world, I often find myself getting bored just after 30 minutes of reading, and I rarely find it truly fun to read anymore. You can probably see this yourself with your own personal experience. And with this reading explanation, we can connect it back to how we pretty much expanded our brains for really, really good entertainment. You know, so you're getting bored because you're so used to playing video games. Let's say you're playing video games for hours and hours on end. Playing video games is literally your default state. Your default state is having a lot of fun and having a lot of instant gratification really, really fast, over and over and over again. So whenever you go back to doing work or reading or whatever you want to do, it's very, very boring because it's not video games, because it's not social media.